Hi, welcome to another Patio Time with Patrick. I'm joined today with Jason Gibeault from Epic right now, Epic Miniatures.
Yes.
I understand you got a story for that, so we'll talk a bit about Epic first, and you can give us the news. So Epic's been around not too long, right?
It's been actually around for a lot longer, but been more official for the last 5 years. Yeah.
So what made the step to go from, hey, I'm just doing fun stuff, to I'm going to start charging to doing, I'm going to actually make this a business?
Actually, it was more of a person. I think it was like 5 or 6 years ago, I met a local artist that basically took me under his wing and saw that I had good unlocked potential or whatnot. And he took the time to sit down with me, show me a few techniques to refine my things, and ever since then it's been just a passion. And pumping out minis it's a lot of fun to me now. So if it wasn't for Jean, I wouldn't be Epic today.
Yeah, that's great. Do you mind giving a shout out to Jean?
Hey Jean, if you're watching this, thanks a lot. I pretty much owe everything to you guys right now.
We'll make sure to put a link in his name in that if you don't mind. So before, are you Warhammer 40k, or you do other stuff as well? Because most of the stuff I've seen from Epic's been mostly Warhammer 40k lately, but...
I classify myself as a plastic addict. Right now, on my Facebook page, you can see on the pin link that I'm on 42 different games. 40k was my first one over 20 years ago. And it started off with 40k. Back in the day, I used to be the big kid, right? My first kit was from my dad, and he bought me a the starter box for Space Marines.
Yes.
You remember the 3-part ones where it's just glue on this.
It's easiest. I miss those days. They're much more detailed now, but sometimes I'm trying to get them together. I'm
they're so finicky. Yeah. No, I remember those old triple piece Space Marines, and that was my first kit. And I started off with that, and then worked my way up to War Machine and stuff like that. And then later, as time went, I became a dad, I got married, so time was really constrained. And then one of my buddies, Dylan, he presented me to skirmish games, where it's basically 5 to 10 models, an hour at the most.
Similar to Kill Team for Warhammer.
Yeah, pretty much.
Where they get just small things, you get together, an hour and a half the most, you're done.
Yeah, exactly. Because everybody knows, parents, time constrained, you got other things to do, blah blah.
Yeah.
And skirmish games have been my passion for the last 5 or 6 years with the Batman miniature game. Ooh. More recently, Monster Apocalypse, just because Privateer Press came out with that game last year. And now most recently, Bushido by GCT Studios.
Okay.
Fantastic game, super fun concept. There's a little bit of gambling in the dice system. It's great. Okay. But I'm mostly a skirmish game right now. But I am stepping back into the 40k universe. I got some Primaris Marines that I'm starting to paint for myself. And there's a lot of 40k players that have come up to me recently for commissions on big stuff, freehand, lots of goodies.
Yeah. Now, have you done Star Wars Legion and that? Is this another sort of skirmish
I'm actually waiting for, the droids. I think the pack has been released.
I think they're released or coming very soon.
Yeah, they're General Grievous and droids and DACA droids and stuff like that. It's one of those quick paint armies. Mm-hmm. And that's the key word that I'm not a big fan of, but armies, mass stuff. But we'll see how it goes. But I'm looking for General Grievous big time.
Do you partake at Adepticon or all those ones where you go down and show off your stuff and say, hey, look at me, look what I've done?
Yeah, I do. The big one in Ottawa that anybody wants to go to is the Capital City Bloodbath.
Yes, which is coming up in August 16th.
Yes, I'm prepping for that one too. The painting competition there is a little bit more open, and there's new categories and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try to bring in one of everything to see what I can get. And I travel every year to Adepticon, and I usually partake in the Monpog, Batman. Next year is gonna be Bushido, and I wanted to do Gen Con. I've never been. Like I heard it's like a big one.
It's a big one. It's more like the role playing sort of thing and board games and stuff than the Adepticon, the more tabletop games.
Okay.
But it's also still it's huge as well. Now, is there a style that you prefer painting, like the way you do it, or you're just sort of like if you commission or you look at the miniature and like, okay, I'm going to try this something different today. Like, you always push yourself to try different things, or
you have to.
Yeah.
You always have to push yourself because like you always have to find that next step because like you can't progress and you can't get better at what you're doing. Like recently, I took a private lesson with Sergio Burgo. It was like an hour for $100.
Oh.
But he's shown me in an hour so much stuff, and it's incredible.
And now Epic Miniatures on Facebook has over 300 followers now. Congratulations! I mean, we're like, hey, it's a big step when you first start off because it takes a while to build up the following in that. And you're giving away Knight add-ons, right?
Yeah, it's for the Crusader.
Yeah, for the Crusader.
But it's essentially the same kit, but it's essentially like the carapace for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been picked out. I'm going to be doing 40 hours of freehand for Slanesh theme. So keep an eye on that. I'm going to start actually tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm actually kicking that
And you do
off.
videos as well, right?
I'm going to start. I won't have much of a choice.
Yeah.
Recently, Privateer Press approached me to become an influencer.
Oh, okay.
So essentially they're going to be sending me stuff, and then I have to do unboxing videos, how to assemble, step-by-steps. And
so do you find that with all the social media stuff, that takes a lot of time, right? Because before you just like, okay, I do painting. Here's now it's like, okay, I got to do Facebook, I got to do some YouTube, I got to do some Instagram, I got to do all these things besides the painting, right? Like
yeah, for sure. It does take some time, but at the same time, if it's something that you want to do, then you don't have much of a choice to dedicate some time to it. But as a father, again, it's finding that time. So there's going to be a lot of late night videos. Mm-hmm. I will be burning the candle at both ends, but in the long run, like that's where I want to be. Yeah. Like I want to be an artist. I've always had that passion for art, and where I'm at right now, I know that it's where I'm going to be.
So do you see yourself moving away from miniatures into something else? Like
no,
just straight.
Like, this December, I'm jumping into the 3D animation program for character design. Mm-hmm. I bought the console, the ZBrush, everything to become like even better at it. And yeah, I missed the spring cutoff by like a couple of weeks.
So you're gonna have to do some 3D printing, perhaps of your own stuff, like to
I have.
Here's an epic miniature. You know?
I will be doing that, but I got a really good friend that does that. So I've been collaborating with someone for the last 4 or 5, ever since she started. Yeah. And she's been super fun, super great, like a complete joy to work with. And she started up her own printing business, and the quality that she pumps out for a beginner is outstanding. Like in the video, you'll see a model she printed one out for me for like a test print, and I actually used that model for my first class that I gave last month. Very good success. The guys learned a ton of stuff, and as a thank you gift, this thing's professionally painted. She's going to be able to get it back. She can take photos of it. She'll be able to play with it. It's on a pretty base, so it's all for her.
Yeah. Is she going to start trying to do this as a business as well?
I think so. I think it's more like one of those like hobby retirement plans where it's like it's work, but it's not work, but she's still going to get an income, and it's not going to take up all her time. Because usually these prints take about like 6-7 hours.
Yeah, I know, like, because a lot of people are getting into that nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, especially for terrain.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the easier ones to do. But it's one of those ones like, okay, let it sit there for hours, but you still have to check on it because sometimes the filament goes off, and next thing you know, you got instead of your ultramarine, you've got some sort of chaos Slanesh demon that's 3 heads.
Yeah, it all depends on the G code. Sometimes like the filament will slip, and then you get this big mess of stuff. But
so you're gonna think of doing more tutorials as well for painting?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Like a lot of it's gonna be like probably Circle Orboros for a little bit. It's a Privateer Press faction. Yeah. It's the pretty one that I find, but there will be more videos coming up soon when things start slowing down.
Yeah. Now you were saying Epic Miniatures is going to be changing.
Yes, it's too bland. Like the name is still like, it's still important to me. Like it was the first one I labeled myself with. Yeah. But like Epic Miniatures just basically confines me to miniatures.
Yes.
Like I want to do busts, I want to do more stuff like that. So I'm still trying to figure it out. But essentially, we're going to hear Something Studios before the end of next year.
Right.
It's been advertised. I've been procrastinating, but a lot of people don't sometimes realize that it's important, that label that you're permanently slapping on yourself.
Yes.
And it's hard thinking about a good one.
It is. Well, like so many have been done, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing too. It's like you think you stumble on a good label, and then you go look it up just to make sure that you're not copywriting anything, and it's like, and 20 things pop up.
Yeah. It's like, what do you mean a macaroni company made that? Has that name?
Exactly. Yeah.
And so no, again, yeah, the searches are fun, and then there's different countries too, right? If you go to Adepticon, you want to be able to have your name in the States as well, not just Canada.
Mm.
So yeah, then it's like okay. But we'll be looking forward to that. That'll be interesting to do. So I was gonna say, do you prefer airbrush or normal paints, or it depends on what you're doing?
I actually like do both. I actually enjoy like one as much as the other. Airbrush usually cuts your time by like an half, because like no one wants to like paintbrush like a tank.
Yeah.
Because the surface on that thing is huge.
Yeah.
An airbrush will cut that time. So every single tool has its purpose and its utility in like the arsenal I have at home.
Yeah.
Like I have like 2-3 airbrushes and they all serve their own purpose.
You can be really fine with the airbrushes too. Like I've seen some really amazing details done with.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like if you look at the, there's a Privateer Press Monster Apocalypse hammer clank that I recently posted up.
Yes, that was beautiful.
All that detail work on the chest. There's no paintbrush.
That's airbrush.
That's all airbrush.
That's amazing because that was like beautiful details, like the colored blends and everything.
Right. It's essentially I used it's called the Badger Sotar 2020, and that thing's needle precise. It's insane. And a lot of people are looking at that thing as a base price tag of like 500 US. But every single year, Badger does its like, oh, it's my birthday. I think last year he turned 56, so every single airbrush was $56.
Oh, really?
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. So if you guys are watching this, next year when Badger turns 57,
keep an eye out
for it and jump on it. I've ordered it twice, and it's come in. It's kind of sketchy at first because they essentially like send an email. We'll send you like a link. You pay through that link, and it's nothing through the website.
Oh no.
No, and it's one of those like we open it up at like midnight on a Friday, but it'll stop at like midnight the next day. It's a 24-hour window.
Yeah.
So jump on it. Like don't be afraid. Jump on it. Try it out, and then enjoy the airbrushes. You can order more than one. Like go for it.
So what got you, like you said, your dad brought you to Space Marine stuff, but hey, did you do some painting stuff like that before, like with the little army men or whatever?
No, actually, no. It was just like I was really good into art and drawing before, and the teachers always approached my parents and like, oh, he's gifted into this and blah blah blah. And then I think we walked into a store one day and we saw it and I showed interest, and my dad gave it to me for like I think it was like a Christmas gift, and that's where it all kicked off. So if it wasn't for my parents, like. I don't know when I would have jumped into like
probably eventually, but but helped a lot.
Yeah, exactly, and it's that big window too. Like if I wouldn't have started 20 years ago, when would I have started? Where would I be now? Mm-hmm. And like, would I still be painting at that same level?
Probably not.
Exactly.
Yeah, you wouldn't have met some of the contacts to get you going in that. So, another question. Sorry, just something. The Games Workshop now has contrast paints.
Oh boy. Oh, that I was worried about that.
Yes, sorry, because what's
contrast paints for me.
Yeah, I understand. Like people say, it's nice. It's handy for those who don't have the time or the knowledge to do all the different, the shading and the layering in that.
Yeah, essentially, like to me, it feels just like a watered down base paint, and it's the same price tag as anything else. So if you take, to me, like there's nothing stopping you from taking any GW paint, watering it down 50-50, and that's what you got.
Oh, okay.
Like it's essentially like a watered down base, but like kind of a mix of a glaze too. Like it does have its purposes. Like Dylan at Multizone gave me the opportunity to try out a few, and if you slap, like just for an example, slapping on like the black contrast paint on top of a white base bolter, outstanding. Like it'll do the job for certain specific things, but if you're looking for like, oh, this is going to win you something, not at all.
So would you recommend it more for like people who are just starting off, who who don't have the time or the effort, or don't consider them that good, like, okay, use the contrast paints just to help you out for some things, and
No, like I'm gonna buy some because I want to figure out what it actually does. Like I'm not gonna tell anybody to like, don't try this, don't try that, don't do anything. It's, you know what? Take the time, buy a couple, try stuff out. Like mix it with something, try it on a different base, try it on a zenithal highlight white, try it on basically everything and anything, and then spread the word of this worked for me, try it out this way, and then like spread that positivity.
Yeah. Do you what do you do for if you're like, I screwed up a paint job, or you look at it and you're like, I want to redo it. So what do you do to clean your minis off?
Essentially with the paints that I use, I strictly use Vallejo, like the Model Air, just because it's already thinned down, and some army painters. But essentially what I do is when I paint so thin that I look at it and I don't like it, I'll spray it black and then just start right over. Because the layers are so thin when it comes out through an airbrush that it's like, no, I don't like it. Black primer, start over again. Yeah, they don't fill up the cracks as much, so it's just keep going.
Okay. What's your favorite like army or figurine to paint? Like the style of, like just the way the miniatures look. You're like, I could do so much with those.
There's so many different skirmish games out there that one single model will pop out and I'll be like, oh well, I want to paint that model, but I don't want to have just that model. I want to have like the crew that it goes with. So I'll essentially, that's why I'm stuck with like 40 some games.
Because you're like, anything that, that looks great, I want to do that.
Yeah, like I got a contact from Hawaii. His name is Hakang Didier, and he's a sculptor, right? And he essentially sculpted a lot of the range for the Drowned Earth. So I took the model that he named after himself and bought the faction for it. So I'm like, oh, well, I want to paint this, but I got to have this. So I'm happy to paint all of this in that same skill. But like in general, I try to look for a model that has a lot of different, like a lot of different things, like metal, leather, anything that I can try out new things and new techniques. Yeah. Because like there's, just for an example, like a Space Marine. Armor, gun, maybe a couple of pouches, and the head for skin tones. Yeah. You got 3 things there. I'm looking for like a lot more, so that's why skirmish games like kind of draw me in a little bit more.
Then, I guess then Chaos is interesting to you too, just because they have
they got so much
stuff that they add onto it.
Yeah,
for skulls, chains, and all that sort of stuff.
Like my big thing right now is like doing like non-metallic metals right now, because like I know there's fun in trying to get things done with you just slapping like your ink wash over like a metal color, and then it's like, it's good enough. But then it's trying to get that shine that metal reflects out of just using blacks and whites. And
that must be tough.
It is. But like it's that time and practice, and then when you're done, you're like, sweet, I got it done. It's perfect. Next.
Now, do you like building them as well, or?
I do pretty much everything. I do a lot of converting. I do some sculpting too, and just being able to be like, hey, look, here's this mini, and then people are like, well, where's that from? Then you start enumerating that whole list of this arm is from this, that weapon's from there, and it's just that originality but that's what I like about Games Workshop, is just you can hack up like so much stuff. Yeah, actually, no, I have to, like, originally, like I said, the clicking them together was nice and easy, but yeah, now you get different heads, you get different weapons, and you're like, okay, I'm going to take some of this, put this here, mix and match. Yeah, the mixing and matching is like a huge turn on for Games Workshop, just because you have that freedom. I know a lot of people for the bigger miniatures, like the Terminators and the Dreadnoughts and stuff, they like to use small magnets to be able to swap out. Now, does that cause a problem for you when you're trying to paint with the magnets and that, or? Yes and no. As long as you make sure that you have like your master magnet, then everything else will work fine. But as soon as you accidentally flip one magnet during the course of your pinning and your assembly, then it just creates a huge headache. So I have essentially like a chopped up brush with a magnet permanently glued on it, just so I can use that as my master magnet. Oh, so you can easily... Exactly, because like if you have that polarity flip on one magnet, it messes everything up. You can have like arms that'll fit on 3 guys, but then that one that's flipped won't fit on the other ones. Yeah. But it is part of the job, right? But it doesn't make a difference for painting though, right? It doesn't bother you? Oh, no, not at all. Like essentially you paint everything but, because as soon as it starts grinding, the primer will go away. So sometimes what I try to do is put that thin layer of super glue right on it, then just spray paint that, and it'll still adhere perfectly. Just that super glue will like create that little barrier between the primer on the magnet.
Okay, so it doesn't
Yeah,
scrape it off. Do you have anything that coming forward? You're going to the Blood Bowl. Is there anything else after that planned for you for Epic, or you know? 'Cause I know with the family and all that, it's also, you know, it's like, okay, honey, I'm going to go here for a weekend. I'm going to go there for a weekend.
No, I'm actually pretty lucky. I have a wife that's very flexible and understands that it's part of what I want to do. And she's like, well, you're allowed to do this, but then next week, here's a list of chores of this is what you got to take care of, and blah blah blah.
Well, that's good. Then it's like a good working relationship.
Yeah. So, Capital City Bloodbath is coming up.
Are you going to one in Quebec in the Warzone?
No, I'm not going to that. But I'm going to. There's a Sword and Brush in September in Toronto that I'm pushing myself to go to, because it's one of those like communities that I haven't dipped my foot into. Mm-hmm. It's all like busts and 75 mils and anything bigger, just to like give you like the artist a lot of freehand and technical skills to use. So I'm gonna push myself to do that, and then Capital City Bloodbath in August, and then I'm heading to Adepticon 2020.
Yeah, because
there's rumors that last year they had Crystal Brush hosted by Alfonso Giraldaez.
Yes,
and he's a phenomenal artist. The guy's like an icon to me. And this year they announced that it was going to be their last year for that. But there's rumors that Games Workshop is stepping in and doing a Golden Demon. Ooh. Rumors. It's not confirmed, but I'm keeping an eye on it.
I think everyone will be for that. Then.
Oh, exactly. So technically I wasn't supposed to. Last year was my last Adepticon.
Yeah.
But if Golden Demon is there, I'm hands down going down. I have some friends that go down every year, so I'm going to tag along with them and do a couple of events, but I'm going to focus on that Golden Demon.
There's Games Workshops at Coliseum is having a painting competition.
Yeah, I think it's like Armies on Parade, something like that. Yeah, I don't have the Games Workshop quantity yet to participate in those.
Oh, okay.
I do have like a kill team, but it's one of those things where you don't want to rush and just sit on the table and be like, okay, I gave 50%.
You want to be able to do it properly. You want some more coffee? You're good. So what kill team do you have?
I don't even know the name. They're kind of Imperial Guard, but they're kind of like SWATs.
Oh yes, the new ones. Yes, I can't remember the name either, but I know
those ones.
Yeah,
we're gonna get backlash for that one.
Oh yeah, I know. We were like, what? You can't remember the names? Like, no, sorry, dude. So I guess though it's also hard for you to play sometimes too, because the family, work, and the painting. Like, okay, finding time. That's why you probably like you said the skirmish games. It's like an hour. Okay, I can show up, play, and done.
Yeah, we're lucky at home where Tuesdays is cheap movie night, so the missus goes out with her mom, spends some quality time there, and then she ends up giving me Wednesdays to myself. So right after work, I usually bring my stuff to work, and then I head to Multi-Zone on the Gatineau side.
Multi-Zone Elmer, I think it is. Right?
No, there's one on Gatineau.
The dungeon.
The dungeon's on the Elmer side, and there's one on the Gatineau side.
Oh, okay.
And on the Gatineau side, we have Skirmish Night Wednesdays.
Yeah.
So there's anywhere between like Infinity, Batman, Monpok. There's a ton. Bushido, and it's usually the same crowd, but there's like a good like 10 to 12 people there nightly. So I'm there from 3 till close. So I end up getting like 6 or 7 games in.
That's
like, pretty easy.
Yeah. So going back to Batman for a second, because he's had different styles in the comics and movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So which style do you prefer, like, to paint for the costume? Like the darker, the blues, the grays, or?
I'm partially colorblind. I'm like blue-yellow colorblind.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And a lot of people are like, no, it's no, I have papers. I legit have papers telling me I'm colorblind. And my big strong points are black to white. So I like the gray Batman way more than like the blues and the Adam West style.
Yeah.
But it's always a challenge to try to do the other ones. Like they have a not a flashpoint. Yeah, they do have a flashpoint, but it's the They have the Azrael Batman.
Oh yes,
The
yes.
Nightfall Batman.
Nightfall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's yellow, there's blues and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I prefer the dark colors.
Dark colors. Yeah.
They came out with a Batman Batfleck too.
Oh yes. Actually, I liked Batman, like Ben Affleck as Batman, as the older sort of Dark Knight sort of thing.
Yeah, he was by far my favorite. Again, I'm probably going to get backlash for that one because a lot of people say Michael Keaton and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But no, like Ben Affleck did a really good job.
As an older Batman, he did a great job for it. Like he showed the intensity and also the sort of cynicism and just I've done it too much sort of. Like,
I'm surprised he bulked that big for that role.
yes, like that was impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, the movies weren't the best, like you know.
Everybody will have their nitpicks on every
You
single
know, but I thought when the backlash was like, give him a chance. Like he's a good actor.
And it's the exact same thing that happened when they announced that Heath Ledger was going to be the Joker.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
He did a perfect job.
job.
And there's like twice as many people complaining now that Robert Pattinson is going to be the young new Batman.
Yes.
So give the
Give
guy
the
a chance. Exactly.
It's
Like,
you know,
it's like how bad can it be? Like really, how bad? Like yeah, maybe we might get a Batman that shines and sparkles in the daylight, but we'll see about that.
yeah. But again, yeah, just give him a chance.
There you go.
But so do you use any like the movie stuff to influence your painting in that? Like, because you're an artist, you like to do your own stuff, but you're sort of like, oh, I like that, but I can make it better. And,
Personal stuff, like I will always use reference.
yeah.
Recently, there's a lot of clients that have like given me white card on, you know what, just make it pretty. Like here's my color palette, here's my base, like let's say like blue, yellow, green, whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're like, you know what, have fun. I just want it to be like about here on standard.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Oh, okay.
So I love the fact that a lot of my clientels give me freedom because they trust me. And I have yet to have a complaint.
Well, that's good. That's good. Now, so do you do movies as well, or because we talk about a whole bunch, like out of the basement, we do movies, comics, you know, games, all sorts of stuff. So you want to talk about some movies?
Movies.
I imagine you don't get a chance to watch too many either. With
Movies, not really, because it's one of those like luxuries that we have to wait till it hops on Netflix.
yes,
So we have those night movies, but
like Stranger Things. Have you watched any of that?
loved it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I
loved
still haven't
it.
watched season 3 yet. It's on the list for today of like binge watching.
That they did such a good job on bringing in so many nostalgic cliches.
Yes,
That
but it didn't feel like over the top. Like here's like
it didn't try to jam it down your throat at all.
Yeah.
It was like nice and smooth.
this is stuff that people did back then. Here's the
But like just that whole like the other side.
the other side, upside
The upside down. Yeah, the upside down. It was just that like out of the left field, and it's like, okay, what's going on? And then it's like, and we got you hooked.
Yes.
Sit down,
Yeah.
binge watch the rest.
Exactly. Yeah. So I love that. I love the way they do nostalgia. You're right. It's there. I mean, it's on purpose.
Everything's so cliche.
You know,
Like so cliche. Like the what was it? Mikey's shorts that he's wearing all the time.
Yes.
Like the
yes,
thigh high shorts.
yes, but that's what we wore back then. It wasn't-
exactly.
it
No, it was just everything.
You know,
And the fact that they got like all the single labels for every single food and like movies and whatnot, like everything's mint. Like they took so much time on the effort on details. It's perfect.
And that's why I liked it. Is like they actually recognize that it's an important part of the show, so they showed proper respect to those things. Right?
Even the prices.
Like, do you want some more of this? It's like no, it's just it's there, it's accepted. Everyone, the video games and all that from back when. I'm like, and the arcades too. Like I remember arcades.
No. I don't think the arcades, do they still exist?
Not anymore, but they did back then. Like it was huge. I think there's a few places
like Midway, but Midway's like more of like a fun zone, but
there's
it's not an
a
arcade.
couple of the states that have still arcade sort of things.
States.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto might have one or two, but
Depends on the popularity.
Yeah, that's just
like
it.
The population too.
Yeah, it's just one of those ones like we got console games and all that now. Why go out public and pay?
No, for sure.
But that was a social thing too, right? It wasn't just playing the games; it was going out with your buddies, hanging around
That's
for hours.
what kids were able to do at that time.
It's like
because they didn't have the technology of these days.
No,
so.
it's like come back after dinner time. Okay,
Oh, for sure.
I got $2 in quarters. Let's go.
And then you're good for like the whole night.
Yeah, and just watch your buddies and just shoot the shit and stuff like that. So is there? Are you doing something with your son? How old's your?
I got a 6-year-old daughter, a 5-year-old son that's going to be turning 5,
Yeah.
and I have a 17-month-old newborn baby boy.
Yeah, there's like a baby.
No, I know what I got. I know what I got. It's just camera pressure.
Yeah, I understand. So that's pretty cool. Do you do stuff with the 6-year-old and the 5-year-old now? There's like a little bit of artsy stuff to try and get them into.
Right now, they don't have a lot of homework, but we do end up spending like some quality time. I recently started like exercising more and taking care of myself. So
yeah, that. Congratulations.
Thanks. So what I do with them is I put the kid in the stroller, my daughter takes her scooter, and then my son takes his bike, and then we end up doing anywhere between 5 to 10 kilometers together.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
So it gets them out of the house.
Yeah.
It gets them out of in front of the TV, which I just hate that parent.
Yeah.
And we do those. There's a splash pad that's close.
But do you need painting with them? Like, do you like, here's a little miniature? Let's
we do like a lot of arts and crafts. We do cooking. We do paintings. They haven't hit like sculpting yet with Play-Doh yet, because this is just because of the baby, right?
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of painting. There's a lot of drawing going on, and there's a lot of pushing for them to expand their creative minds.
Yeah. Well, that helps. That helps them learn and stuff like that.
Oh, for sure.
So you think before the end of the year you might have a name or whatever? Are you going to have a draw amongst your 300 people, your followers? Tell them, hey, give me a name, guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of trolls out there.
Oh, I know.
But I might actually poll it and just see what people think.
Yeah.
Because like there's a lot of people that might have an idea of what it could be.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of people that understand who I am. So they don't know what I want to label.
What speaks to you? Yeah.
Like at one point, I was gonna label myself Four Brothers Studios, and a lot of people were like, "Well, why that?" And to the close people that know me, they know exactly what I'm talking about. But 95% are just like, "Oh, okay, we don't get it."
Yeah.
So the people that don't know me, I'm a huge Ninja Turtle fan, and that'll give it away right away.
Okay. Do you know there's a 5th turtle now?
Yeah,
in the comics?
Jimmy.
Yeah. I'm sitting there running, but she got it through a blood transfusion.
Yeah.
But
she's part of the team for now. We'll see where it goes, and it's a great series. I recommend.
Yeah,
it. But like, exactly. So like, if I would have labeled myself Four Brothers Studios, not a lot of people would get that hint until they see this or until they get to know me.
Yeah, anyway.
But like, yeah, that was one of the big things when I grew up. Is I didn't have many friends. I was the overweight kid, and the only thing I could really count on was when I got back at home at 3:30, the TV show started.
Yeah.
There was that one constant joy in my life that I can guarantee every day.
Yeah, and you knew for this amount of time,
I was happy.
Yeah.
For like that half hour, 25 minutes with commercials,
yeah,
I was happy. And like I wrote a letter to Kevin Eastman. Like a lot of people don't know this, but I attempted twice.
Oh, really?
Because I was so depressed and
and
hated and everything, and I sent Eastman a letter saying that if it probably wasn't for those four brothers, I probably wouldn't be here today. I was in a bad spot when I was a kid, and because of that, it got me through tough days.
Good. Well, that's good to hear.
And now my studio at home, it's action figures, posters.
Did he ever reply right back to you, or?
I was actually lucky enough to meet him. My wife got me that all-inclusive pass. I think it was like 3 years ago when he came to Comic-Con.
Yeah.
I actually got a chance to talk to him, and he remembered.
Oh, wow. That's great.
So I was able to chat with him for a little bit. He signed like half a dozen number ones. We took a photo, and it was like one of those like highlights of my life.
Yeah. I guess for you with kids, it's because like you said, there's a lot of trolls and more anonymous bullying because they're like protected because they don't,
Yeah, they don't see what it is. They don't see the repercussions of their backlashing, and like it's bad. And what I'm teaching my kids is patience.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand that like these days it's really easy to just point the finger elsewhere than yourself. So I'm teaching them how to be patient and how to accept everything.
And some people just are going to be like that, and it's not personal and stuff like that.
No, it's just their ways of putting the blame on someone else because there's something going wrong with themselves.
So yeah, you may have noticed we're back. We have some miniatures here, which I've taken some pictures and we'll be putting online on the video. But if we can go through some of the different ones here with you. Now this one you said your friend did. What's her company again? It's
Prince of War.
Prince of War. Oh, I like that. Nice.
Yeah, so essentially like her logo is like one of those like nostalgic POW, like
Batman, the Batman
exactly.
thing, you know, and that. So that's really impressive. Like you said, you can see the muscles and stuff like that, and the fur. And you painted that yourself, I imagine.
Yeah, that one was done under about 3 to 4 hours.
Okay. Now this was nice texture and everything. So I'm just gonna put that off the side for now. That's really amazing. Now you got the two kaiju.
Yeah, those are from Monster Apocalypse. Those were for my personal use.
Yeah.
They made it to Adepticon. Unfortunately, the Army's on Parade for some reason started like 10 o'clock at night.
Oh.
I had to leave the next morning.
Oh,
so
no, you couldn't.
Unfortunately, I couldn't put them in, but next year
They're awesome.
They will be.
Yeah, I like the purples and colors and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wanted to do something contrasting, so that's why the skin's so different from the armor and the scaling.
And then we have there's pictures of this is the DC lineup.
Yeah, we have
Deathstroke.
Red Hood.
Red Hood. Oh, sorry, Red Hood. Yeah.
It's a converted Red Hood model.
Okay. Constantine, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Harley Quinn. That's Deathstroke,
Yeah.
Terminator, and Luther. That's Luther.
No, that's that one random model they came out with that serves no purpose.
Okay.
It's Monster Team.
Yeah. Okay.
So if people remember the Suicide Squad movie, this scene where Joker is in the strip club, his nightclub or whatnot, and he's talking to this African American actor, Simon.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be him.
Oh, okay. And like you said, there's a picture of the back, which is amazing. And that's freehand.
Yeah, that's all freehanded. It's all
her thighs as well. The tattoos there.
Yeah. The all those freehands are made with a 00 Raphael Kaminsky brush.
Okay.
They're expensive brushes, but they're so good.
Cool. Like you said, because you're actually doing professional stuff now, not sort of just the fun things. It's like
it's always like one of those good investments.
Now, here's one for you. Are you going to, because you do some of the videos and stuff, are you thinking Kickstarter or Patreon to help you with some of that, or because that's one of I've asked everyone who does stuff like that, and we think about it as well. It's it's a good bad thing. It's nice to get Patreon because you get
you get the
funders.
support.
Kickstarter is more, you can get bigger chunk of money in one shot, but then you sort of but
you feel like you owe something back to the community.
Because you have to say, okay, if you invest this much, this is what you get. If you invest this much, you get this. So if you get a whole bunch of people, you're like, oh crap, we gotta.
Yeah, it's just it's one of those conversations I had this Wednesday.
Yeah.
A lot of people have been telling me that the photos I put on Facebook, they're not good quality because when I come up and present the models to the clients, they're like, well, how come it looks this good here, but it looks like crud on your Facebook page? Because I don't have a proper light booth.
Yeah, you need a lighting area, you need a camera and everything.
But I was raised in a point where my parents always told me, if you can't afford it, don't buy it. If you want to buy something, buy the best one.
Yes.
Because it's not worth investing time and money into subpar stuff, knowing that you're going to be ending up buying something better later on. So recently, I just bought a new computer. It's basically I walked in, everything was the top of the line. Slap it into a tower, I'll buy that.
Yeah.
I know I won't have to touch it for 5-6 years.
Yeah. So I was going to say for lighting, there's a lot of things now like LEDs and stuff like that, which are much better.
There's some at IKEA now.
Yeah, there is.
There's that archway where it just lights straight down.
Yeah.
And it's actually super good and it's super cheap and I'd recommend it to anyone.
That's what we're looking at going, wow, it's actually come a long way from the days where you had to have the big stands with the big lights that gave out 500 degrees, temperature.
It's something that you want to avoid. There's some packages for light boxes that you can get off of Amazon for $60, which is fine. But there's one that I want to get. It's $200.
Yeah.
But then it comes with a few of those nice backdrops that you can put models in front of.
Yeah.
But back to the question you asked. It's will I go to Patreon or Kickstarter?
Yeah.
No, because I feel like if I earn it myself during my own time, I'll appreciate it more later. Yeah.
No, that works. And like, well, you're starting to do well enough, anyways, right? You get a lot of pretty constant for.
Yeah, I'm getting. I got a lot of clients to the point where like I have to turn some away, just because of time constraint.
Now, do you work another job as well? Like, do you have a?
Yeah, full time.
Yeah, see, that's where it gets.
Yeah.
I guess you're reaching the point where you have to make, hopefully in a couple of years, we'll say, okay, I can do my painting full time, and not.
I can do my painting full time, but it's gotten to the point where I want to progress as an artist. So I have to spend time on myself and trying new things, and that stuff won't pay the bills because it's like my stuff, right? Like the pterosaurs that I painted, those are 6-hour models a piece. So that's 12 hours of just me where if I flip these, fine, maybe.
But you're not expecting to.
But I'm not expecting to because these are
and also you're testing stuff out.
Exactly.
Right? So if it doesn't work, you're like, okay, there's 12 hours, but I'm not expecting to sell it. I didn't lose time because you've learned something.
Yeah.
But you're also, I'm not making anything from it.
Exactly. So there is a part of every artist that needs to spend time for themselves unpaid to learn.
Yeah.
And it's one of those like little niche things that you have to do, because if you can't progress as an artist, you won't get better, and then you won't reach that next that next step, and you're going to plateau at one point where your quality might not be up to like the next guy. People are like, some people are okay with being trapped in that comfort zone.
Yes.
Because they know, they're like, oh well, I found something that works.
Yeah.
So I'm going to cruise this until I have to change.
Yes.
And some people will get that constant like.
Well, again, I was like, it's a mixed thing, because I understand too, for some musicians and artists, it's, well, I have my base that supports me. If I do something change, will they, I have to.
Will they follow?
Will they follow?
Yeah.
And I can understand where they're coming from, but it's good that you're still trying to push yourself, right? Because like, you want to grow as a person, as an artist. It's not just an artist; you're growing as a person because you're.
And that's the reason why I'm into like 40+ games, because I'm into Bushido. You're not, but while I'm paying Bushido, I'm hitting the Bushido community. They see what I have, so they're like, oh well, I'm gonna follow him. So that's why for like the remainder of the year, once a month, I'm gonna put out something as a raffle, as a freebie, just so that I can get into that community.
Oh, okay.
So that's why my first step in was that 40K community.
Yes.
So as soon as they see what I can pump out, a lot of people will be like, oh, this dude can do this? Oh, I'm gonna keep watching.
Yeah.
But then while I'm doing that, I'm also presenting different communities into different games, because they'll be like, well, this model's cool, where is it?
Yeah.
So that's where people will jump from community to community to try new things and not be stuck in that group. And 90% of every single community for like the miniature gamer will have more than one faction for X amount of games.
Well, like one of those better stories we like, Kessel Run, they have terrain and stuff there that, okay, you don't have to have it yourself. We can pull it out. You have tables for you.
Yeah. That's a good thing about like those stores where they have like in-store accessories that anybody can use. Yeah. As long as you take care of it.
Yeah,
take care of the stuff.
That's the big one. Yeah. And well, thank you very much, Jason. If there's anything else you want to discuss or that?
But yeah, so if you guys like what you see, follow me on Facebook, and then I'll have a couple of links for some favorites of paints, brushes, my friend's Print of War Facebook page, which I highly recommend. Yeah. Great product, great service.
Well, thank you very much, Jason.
Thank you very much.
And thank you everyone for joining us again. So it's Jason Gibeault from Epic Miniatures. So make sure to check that out and try something different.
Take care, guys.